Change your life today. Do not gamble on the future. Act now, without delay. Simone de Beauvoir. Every time you postpone a monumental decision, what you forfeit is not merely 24 hours upon the clock, but the profound opportunity to encounter a vastly more formidable version of yourself. At first, hesitation is but an invisible silken thread, so delicate that it entirely evades our awareness. Yet, as the years wane, that very thread silently weaves itself into heavy iron chains, binding your will, lulling you into a comfortable state of absolute inertia until you soothe your own soul with the hollow excuse of waiting for the perfect moment. Gaze upon a mere seed. It does not negotiate with the spring. It does not barter with the falling rain, nor does it wait for the external cosmos to align in absolute perfection before daring to sprout. When the destined hour arrives, it silently shatters its hardened shell, driving its roots deep into the abyssal earth to thrust its first tender shoots toward the radiant light. Had the seed harbored the same hesitation as mankind, this world might forever remain barren, devoid of its majestic forests. Life fundamentally orchestrates itself according to such natural, unyielding laws. Every monumental triumph is ignited by a solitary, minuscule, yet resolute action. No one can ever erect a towering citadel by merely gazing upon the blueprint. No one navigates the boundless ocean by standing safely ashore, analyzing the tempests, and truly, no one shall ever alter the course of their destiny. If every passing day halts merely at the contemplation of change, the most terrifying phantom in life is not failure itself, for failure is but a fleeting lesson bound by time. What is infinitely more dreadful is a procrastination so prolonged that it mutates into one's very nature. When that darkness descends, you become accustomed to seeking excuses over solutions, accustomed to empty reveries over daring ventures, and accustomed to watching the triumphs of others while self-soothing with the whisper, "Someday, I too shall achieve this." Yet, someday is, in truth, a clock forever devoid of hands. It exists solely within the phantasmal realm of those who have never dared to begin. Whenever you stand upon the precipice of your comfort zone, fear will perpetually murmur its seductive counsels of delay. However, there remains a grim truth that the mind rarely divulges. Every day, surrendered to hesitation, is a day your inner conviction is silently eroded. True confidence is never forged through hollow, positive affirmations, but is rather crystallized through tangible, concrete actions. Every forward stride, no matter how microscopic, serves as a resounding declaration that you possess the prowess to forge ahead. Do not wager the entirety of your existence on an unwritten future. Tomorrow is no preordained gift waiting to be unwrapped. It is the architectural masterpiece constructed from the choices of the present. Commence this very day, starting from the most minuscule of endeavors, a single page turned, a decisive call made, an idea sketched in the margins, or a terror confronted face to face. All possess the power to be the genesis of an entirely unprecedented odyssey. Life perpetually favors those bold enough to plunge into the abyss before ever feeling fully prepared. Glancing back across the chasm of years, you will realize the true turning point of your destiny stemmed not from a grandiose, earth-shattering decree, but rather from the precise instant you severed the ties of hesitation and chose to act. Today is the embodiment of that very moment, not tomorrow, not when the stars align in flawless perfection, but right now, always strives together with those who strive. Aeschylus, genuine faith has never been synonymous with profound passivity. The Almighty does not beckon mankind to sit idly, awaiting the manifestation of sudden miracles. He bestows upon each of us the iron will, the piercing intellect, and two capable hands to toil, to create, and to shatter our own adversity. The divine walks beside those who fiercely endeavor, precisely because they honor and wield the very gifts he has bestowed, forging the epic saga of their own lives. Envision a solitary farmer kneeling in prayer for a bountiful harvest, who has yet to sow a single seed into the barren earth. Such hollow prayers shall never transmute a parched wasteland into a golden sea of grain. Conversely, the one who rises before the dawn, relentlessly tilling the soil, sowing seeds woven with hope, watering the furrows with the sweat of their brow, and waiting in patient reverence, is the one truly collaborating with the will of creation. Faith and action are akin to the twin wings of a soaring eagle. Stripped of either, the creature can never ascend to touch the dreamlit heavens. Within the labyrinth of the human psyche, the dread of failure often stands as the towering barrier leading to evasion. We easily scavenge for justifications, yearning for a more auspicious hour or a serendipity devoid of friction. But life offers no vow to sweep away the jagged thorns upon your chosen path. True value lies within the intrinsic fortitude that propels you across them. Much like a father who cannot learn in his child's stead, yet remains ever watchful to uplift them, spiritual elevation can never serve as a proxy for individual exertion. The divine sustainer stands steadfast beside those daring enough to march forward, brave enough to stumble and independently rise again, and audacious enough to persist even when the horizon remains shrouded in mist. The trials that manifest are no omens of celestial abandonment, but the very crucible of forging absolute resilience. For a crude bar of iron to transform into a razor-sharp blade, it must endure the roaring inferno and the relentless, deafening strikes of the blacksmith's hammer. For a rough diamond to radiate an incandescent brilliance, it must withstand crushing, colossal pressure deep within the Earth's mantle for millions of years. Humanity is no different. Pressure is not born to obliterate, but to awaken the dormant, primordial power slumbering deep within you. The sheer miracle is that every grueling footstep carved by effort brings a profound metamorphosis to the soul. As you pour your devotion into your labor, unshakable confidence swells. As you hold the line against adversity, the beacon of hope is fortified. And when you fiercely refuse to surrender, your faith becomes unfathomably deep and invulnerable. That sacred companionship does not merely materialize at the distant finish line. It permeates every step, every falling drop of sweat, and every instance you choose to rise instead of kneeling before defeat. If today you cradle a burning aspiration within, do not merely beg for a frictionless path. Pray instead for the raw valor to commence, the tenacity to endure, and a heart fortified with enough steel to never yield. When a soul exerts every ounce of its might while clutching steadfast faith, the phantom realms of the impossible will gradually breathe into vivid reality. Prepare your spirit to confront hardships and devour them for breakfast. Alfred A. Montapert. We often cross the threshold of a new dawn, desiring everything to unfold in utter tranquility, devoid of heavy burdens, devoid of obstructions. Yet, existence governs itself by its own sovereign, unbending laws. Hardship is an inescapable crucible, within the alchemy of growth, much as the impenetrable velvet of night is the strict prerequisite for the breaking dawn. The chasm dividing the indomitable soul from the fragile spirit does not lie in who is spared from the storms of trial, but in the armor of mindset they forge to face the tempest. Viewing adversity as an anomaly transforms every sudden twist of fate into a paralyzing mental shockwave. But when you comprehend that trials are intricately woven into the tapestry of living, you embrace them with a stoic calm, methodically charting a course toward conquest. A master gladiator, stepping into the roaring arena, never prays for their adversary's weakness to secure a hollow victory. Instead, they temper their flesh, ruthlessly hone their lethal skills, and arm themselves with a mind of steel, entirely prepared to face the most harrowing clashes. It is this very preemptive mastery that cements their absolute supremacy. Life is but another grand coliseum. Any given day may unleash the sting of rejection, the venom of criticism, or the shattering of carefully laid designs. If your singular prayer is for gentle seas, you shall swiftly succumb to exhaustion when reality fiercely rebels against your desires. We do not wake from our slumber to quarrel with the necessity of our morning feast, for it is a seamless rhythm of the natural order. Hardships must be perceived through an equally accepting lens. Refuse to brand them as enemies obstructing your march. Behold them as the vital sustenance for your unyielding will, the rigorous training ground for resilience, and the grand awakening of your intellect. Muscle cannot swell without the brutal resistance of iron, nor can the spirit achieve adamantine strength without ever plunging into the fires of pressure. The grueling ordeals that drain the life from your veins today are the very raw materials meticulously forging the unshakable confidence of your tomorrow. Cowardly evasion only serves to nourish the ever-expanding beast of terror. Conversely, each time you boldly lock eyes with peril, instead of fleeing into the shadows, your consciousness realizes the looming darkness is far less monstrous than the phantoms your mind had painted. Through the passage of time, valor ceases to be a fleeting exertion, evolving instead into a pure, instinctive reflex. This is the sacred alchemy of true grit taking shape, not beneath the warm caress of the sun, but amidst the howling fury of the storm. The mighty eagle does not master the skies in the stillness of breathless air. It seizes the violent gales to propel itself into the majestic heights. The ancient oak does not anchor its roots deeply because of balmy afternoons, but because torrential hurricanes compel it to dig furiously into the dark heart of the earth. Every formidable entity reigning within the wild kingdom flourishes purely through the chaotic forces, seemingly intent on their absolute destruction. Humanity stands as no exception to this primordial rule. Adversity itself is the cruel yet brilliant master, sculpting profoundly layered souls, unyielding persistence, and the divine spark to breathe inspiration into one's fellow mortals. As a new dawn breaches the horizon, armor your psyche for both rapturous joys and grueling tribulations. Harbor no terror, whisper no bitter laments. Consume your towering obstacles as you would a morning feast, an organic surge of primal energy, fortifying you for the epic odyssey ahead. There will come an hour when you comprehend that life's true magnitude is never measured by the tranquil days we have simply survived, but is rather consecrated by the myriad times we have smiled while striding through hellfire, ascending tirelessly toward the zenith of our own potential. They can conquer who believe they can. Virgil. Conquest does not ignite at the starting block, nor is it finalized purely across the finishing line. It is sparked into existence the very millisecond a mortal chooses to cast absolute faith upon themselves. Long before the waking world bows to your intrinsic worth, before serendipity knocks, or triumph flashes its golden smile, you must harbor the unshakable conviction that you are entirely capable. Such ferocious belief stems not from the arrogant delusion of flawless perfection, but from an insatiable hunger to learn and evolve throughout the harrowing expedition. The wanderer who forfeits faith in their own shadow instinctively retreats, even as the colossal gates of destiny stand wide open. Conversely, the guardian of unwavering belief will perpetually carve out a passage, even through the densest fog of bleak uncertainty. Intrinsic faith is neither vile arrogance nor a mere hallucination of one's own prowess. It is the silent yet immovable voice, echoing deep within the soul, declaring, "I may not possess all knowledge, yet I am wildly eager to learn. I may lack titanic strength at this moment, but I shall relentlessly forge it. I may not clasp victory today, but I swear by the heavens, I shall never surrender." This exact disposition draws the indelible line between the one who halts and the one who storms forward. A humble seed never entertains a whisper of doubt regarding its destiny to become an ancient, towering sovereign of the forest. Though buried alive in the pitch-black underworld, it silently plunges its roots, hunting for the lifeblood of water, lunging toward the light, driven by a fierce, primal instinct to endure. Mortals habitually execute actions perfectly synchronized with the mythos they believe of themselves. Should you endlessly brand yourself with the stigma of inferiority, your mind will savagely hunt for evidence to fortify that venomous illusion, seducing you into evading the crucible and surrendering to the void. But when you anchor your soul in the infinite capacity to ascend, every catastrophic misstep transforms into an invaluable tome of wisdom. Every bitter defeat morphs into a stepping stone, and every crushing hardship becomes a golden rung on the ladder of evolution. Faith does not wield the hammer in your stead, yet it fuels the limitless, burning stamina required to sustain action until the grand harvest is reaped. When fragile fledglings plummet from the safety of their nests for the very first time, they hold no absolute certainty that they will command the roaring winds immediately. Yet instinct screams at them to unfurl their wings and plunge into the terrifying abyss. That singular, utterly courageous leap ignites the dormant majesty of flight sleeping within their hollow bones. Countless strokes of transcendent genius in this world have been buried alive simply because their custodians lacked the sheer audacity to take the terrifying first stride. We paralyze ourselves, waiting for a profound reservoir of confidence before executing a move. But reality dictates the absolute inverse. It is the brute force of action itself that acts as the catalyst for unyielding confidence. The most tragic lament is not the sting of defeat, but allowing paralyzing terror to barricade you from ever stepping onto the battlefield. The architects of miracles have also waded through agonizing hours woven with anxiety, suffocating doubt, and bleeding knees. Their solitary distinction is their vicious refusal to allow such fleeting shadows to dictate the empire of their future. They fiercely elect to believe that mastery can be forged in fire, and that limits are merely illusions meant to be shattered. True, legendary triumph is not merely basking upon the gilded pedestal of glory, it is the brutal slaughter of your own internal treachery and doubt. Possessing the audacity to march onward when you march entirely alone, and persevering, even when the horizon remains utterly barren. Every dawn, you awaken and elect to place your faith in your own prowess. Is a dawn. You cement another indestructible stone into the towering citadel of your impending legacy. Never step back, never explain, just get it done and let them be. Benjamin Jowett. In the grand tapestry of existence, the quest to appease every soul is a profound delusion. Whether you boldly storm the front lines or remain frozen in the abyss of stagnation, whether you seize the crown of victory or plunge into the jaws of ruin, you shall forever be encircled by a cacophony of dissenting voices and eyes clouded with skepticism. If you squander the entirety of your mortal spark, merely defending and proving your worth to the gallery, you will find yourself utterly drained of the time and the spirit required to genuinely live your own saga. The intrinsic weight of a human soul is never calibrated by the hollow echoes of their justifications, but is rather immortalized by the tangible monoliths of achievement they carve into reality. Action stands as the ultimate earth-shaking decree. Mortals are forever haunted by a primal hunger to be entirely comprehended and celebrated. Consequently, when thrust into the cold shadows of misunderstanding, our immediate reflex is to hastily unspool explanations in a desperate bid for vindication. Yet, the harsh truth dictates that the futile attempt to sway minds already locked in prejudice serves only to hemorrhage your sacred vitality into the void. It is akin to plunging your bare hands into turbulent waters in an attempt to forcefully flatten the waves. The more aggressively you intervene, the more violent the ripples become. There exist profound truths that demand the slow, revealing burn of time and raw, undisputable values that only the bloody sweat of physical triumph possesses the power to validate. The fierce spirit of never retreating does not equate to blind, venomous stubbornness. It is an unyielding anchor, ensuring you remain entirely unswayed by a symphony of baseless critique or the fleeting, treacherous terrain upon your chosen, righteous path. A towering lighthouse unrelentingly pierces the darkness, entirely unbothered by the boiling rage of the sea. A wild river violently cuts its path through jagged cliffs to merge with the ocean, never once flowing backward to its origin. Such ferocious consistency weaves their very worth, and mankind is held to the exact same law. A solitary, poisoned barb of criticism might plunge us into agonizing contemplation for days on end, perhaps even seducing us to butcher our grandest ambitions merely to purchase the cheap applause of the masses. However, the roaring consensus of the crowd is a wildly emotional, endlessly fickle phantom. If the very heartbeat of your joy hinges entirely upon the distorted lenses of onlookers, your existence shall forever remain a puppet, violently jerked around by forces entirely beyond your absolute domain. Authentic, untouchable sovereignty solely ignites the moment you sever the shackles of the crowd's hollow expectations and pivot your fierce gaze deeply into the core of your own sovereign principles. Bear witness to the silent, brutal odyssey of a seed cast into the merciless dirt. It breaches the soil in absolute silence, demanding no thundering applause, hungering for no petty validation, and begging for no man's permission to erupt into greatness. It simply absorbs the raw nectar of the earth and violently expands with every passing sun until the day its colossal canopy is vast enough to cast a reigning shadow. All infantile doubts spontaneously evaporate into the wind. The masterpiece of triumph stands as its own violently eloquent manifesto, This in no way dictates that we become deaf to all counsel. Profoundly genuine, architecturally sound wisdom forever acts as a sacred catalyst, propelling us toward the zenith of self-mastery. Cultivate the lethal intuition to slice through the veil, separating noble guidance from the venomous, parasitic judgments designed solely to drag you back into the mire. A visionary whose gaze is immovably locked upon the ultimate horizon refuses to halt their grand march to bicker with the jeering specters lining the wayside. Once the compass of your soul aligns with the righteous path, walk it with an iron persistence. Do not hemorrhage your divine essence into a void of utterly futile explanations. Harness the entirety of your blazing spirit to absorb wisdom, execute unyielding action, and to flawlessly, ruthlessly finish the epic you dared to begin. Life eternally bows in profound reverence to those who toil in the shadowed silence, relentlessly marching forward, allowing the roaring thunder of their achievements to drown out all hollow echoes of justification.